Okay, Paso, everybody, you know what the dealio. It's Shit Talking Sundays fitness tip of the week. And today we got a great one. I'm gonna have to interact a little bit more than I normally do, just because it's touching something that I actually am experiencing. So without further ado, let's get this man with the plan, the guy that y'all know as Vince the Beast. What's cracking like it, Vincey the Beast?
Hey, ¿qué pasó, amigo?
Hey man, you know I'm trying to get big like you, man. So
That's right.
you know,
I hear you.
I guess I need to get past the topic. This is what I got to get in touch with today.
Yeah, man. You know, like I said, it's something that I wanted to do some homework on. So I've been checking it out, looking up some studies and everything. So it's good. I feel that there's a couple of things that could definitely help. Like, oh, this is something for AG today. He could definitely help him to get understanding, and anybody else out there that has been suffering with this, and not just this, but there's a couple other things on there that makes it. And after studying these, it makes sense that they do coincide and they do have a similar deal of recovery. So it is. I think it's a great topic for us to get to kick out, and for us, you guys, the audience and listeners, to really take on. So that's what we're here for, baby. Provide some knowledge.
Well, what's the topic called today?
This is about those that have suffered from concussions, and it also deals with those that have dementia and or Alzheimer's.
Mm.
So it's about that mental repair. Recovering, get that recovery from Alzheimer's, or if you are in the first stages of it, and dementia, and also those that have suffered from, like I said, head injuries of any kind, concussions, and whiplash is even another thing that involves the head and neck also, that can be lumped into a lot of this that the study as well. So
Right, right. But before we get started, if you haven't already, um, hit that notification button or hit that like button or subscribe, uh, share, subscribe, like, hit that notification button. And I'm repeating it over and over just because, just in case you are needing some mental repair, I'm just kind of making sure that I put the name in your face over and over. But with that said, uh, man, let's just jump right in, man, because this is a serious subject. I, for those of you who don't know, I am at the, I would like to say the tail end of a concussion. Um, so I'm trying to get back into the gym. So this is actually really perfect. So
yeah, and I'm sure you're not the only one. I mean, because unless you are, you have a medical background or you have that in the family, a lot of people, and some people, honestly, you'd be surprised at the number of people that don't even go get diagnosed. They just think, oh, I just got a headache, which is obviously a sign, one of the signs. I just got headaches or I'm fatigued, just fatigued. Maybe it's just stress. Maybe it's just working too much. Maybe it's this, that, and the other. Because it wasn't a hard hit or you was in a car accident. People get in car accidents all the time, and a lot of times get like whiplash and or concussions and don't even know it. Um, and they just kind of write it off. They take some Excedrin or some Motrin and call it a day. But
you know what's so crazy about that is the fact that the way I got, you don't have to be hit by somebody concussion. Okay, I got a concussion hitting myself in the head. As funny as that sounds, I was in the gym and I sat up and hit the bar, and to me it didn't seem like it was that hard. But um, what was it like? 4 days later, I couldn't sleep for 20 days. I only got about an hour worth of sleep every day for 20 days until the doctors finally got a hold of what the issue was and they properly medicated me to get me right. But no two concussions are alike. I did so much uh, research on YouTube University, not saying that YouTube is always right, but when a lot of people are saying the same thing, there has to be some truth in it. So I took out of it what I could and trust and believe all concussions are not the same. Not a single one is going to be the same. So, yeah. Uh, and some last a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and some last a year or more, or never go away. So,
yeah, and sleep deprivation is definitely one of the signs. And here's the thing. So, and a lot of people look at concussions and not just concussions, just injuries in general. Like, most people that are on here have watched sports,
mhm.
some variation of form, and you'll see like NFL players, you'll see rugby players, soccer players, fighters. You know, they have like a concussion. Or you don't hear about NFL, especially they really go hard to announce it ever since their whole class action suit and all that. Hey, they're in concussion protocol, and then like, wait, he's in concussion protocol. So then they're talking about after the game, like, yeah, hoping to get him back by next week. So we were like, wow, next week. So thinking like, okay, it's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. That's one thing that kind of it can lead to is that people thinking it's not that big of a deal and are thinking that it's just you're just supposed to be good in a week or two. You're ready to go.
Um,
So what
there
they
is
don't
no
know,
way. Yeah, there's no way. I know for a fact after 1 week, if I was a football player, that I would have been able to go back in there and safely continue to play the game because my brain was all scrambled for a second. it was bad. I mean, it would not stop in motion.
Yeah, and like they said, they're not all the same because there are some that be out for weeks. So,
Mhm.
but one of the benefits, obviously, as being $1 million athlete is you have around the clock care,
Right.
and you have therapists, you have trainers, you have different people, doctors in your waiting hand and your access to do some of the things that a lot of general people, again, especially if they don't go to the doctor, but even if they go to the doctor, sometimes the doctor might not even tell them about exercise and how it can help and benefit your recovery.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I would definitely, if you do have one, if you ever have one, definitely consult with your doctor first and foremost. Obviously, we always say that on here, and I always say that in general. Definitely speak with your doctor about that, and ask them about is it about some type of therapy, because a lot of doctors, unfortunately, and that's how they get paid. A lot of ways is by prescribing medication.
Hmm.
Well, that's good to deal with the pain, but what about the recovery? What about the repair? And that is the thing. I mean, because if you're just stuck laying and sitting on medication, medication, you're not really getting better. You're just band-aiding it.
Right.
You're basically just skipping. You're skipping a segment, or we fast forward past when we DVR, we record stuff. Oh well, I'm just gonna skip all the commercials. That's basically what you're doing. You're skipping the commercials to get to the next thing, and then, but eventually, you gotta go back to live TV, or the show's over,
Hmm.
or if you try to, or you just pause it and you try to catch up to it. Eventually, it catches up to where it comes live, and now you got to deal with the commercials and everything that goes along with it.
Hmm.
So, again, that's why I always call myself. I'm not a fitness trainer. I don't claim myself as a fitness professional, or I say a solutions expert, because to me the whole point from what I want to do for people is help find solutions. I don't want to just give you, like I said, give you a workout, kick your ass for a couple months, help you get some great results, and send you on your way, and you're like a month later, like I don't know what to do. Now that I'm by myself, I have no clue. So you want to educate and teach. I believe and the health and the health field can definitely benefit from doing this more often. Is educating and teaching people solutions, not just band-aiding stuff. We need to create solutions, and you can apply that anywhere in your life. Speaking with your children, about life situations, or dealing with coworkers, and you guys come together for your huddles, your meetings, whatever the case. But it's about finding solutions. It's not about just getting by. And unfortunately, some people don't want to do the hard part, which is the recovery and dealing with the things that you have to do, the rehab, the therapy, whatever needs to be done. But this is so important. And I definitely hitting on concussions, but I also do want to speak on, like I said, dementia and Alzheimer's, because these are two things that are very high. But exercise plays a huge role in the effects and lack thereof that you get from all of these. So, because it's all related to your brain and your brain, and obviously a concussion is from like a shocking or a scrambling of the head. But dementia, Alzheimer's are things that are triggered into the brain, where things of the brain aren't functioning or firing properly. So, what are things that you do when you exercise? It's not all exercises, of course, but you think about doing like a step aerobics class, or if you think about doing Zumba, it doesn't have to be intense. If you think about doing, we talked about balance training before, unilateral training, things that challenge your body to make you have to read and react, to fire your neurons, your nervous system, to send those signals, keep those signals firing and recovering, and rebuilding that cellular that cellular activation.
Hmm.
Those are things that the exercise does to help. to keep your mind. That's why you older people a lot of times too. You talk about keep moving or staying active or don't just sit down or read constantly like doing reading stuff or you see a lot of them playing like different chess or things like that or they're or some of them even go back to school because if you constantly stimulating the mind, but also being active, stimulating the body, it's going to help everything to remain functional. It's going to make everything to stay live, to where it doesn't get dormant and want to just sit down and just do nothing. That's why even they say like concussions, you don't want to just sit idle. You want to, they want you, you want to go home. You don't want to have a head injury or any type of head injury and then go lay down. They want you to be upright, want you to be cognitive, and obviously go to the hospital because it can have such an effect on your brain and the ability to recover from those types of injuries.
It's so crazy. When I got my concussion, um, I got it in the morning. That night, um, I don't would have had it as extreme if I would have not got on. But that night, I went
Mm-hmm.
at around midnight, and I got up at I didn't really fall asleep until maybe 1 in the morning, and I was up at 3. So I got like 2 hours of sleep, and it was restless sleep. So when I got up, I was just feeling, I had this anxious feeling. I had this cloud of anxiousness. I knew I was getting ready to go out of town, and that's what I chalked it up to. But as soon as
Mm-hmm.
I got on that plane and that plane pressurized, I had claustrophobia like I never had. I've never had claustrophobia. And I had claustrophobia. It was so, I had to put on my headphones. I had to turn on some music. I had to really try to zone out because it was really intense. You just, you never know when it's going to hit you. That's the crazy part of it. And for me, when I try to get right back in and work out, I will get headaches. So the doctor said, man, just chill out for about 3 weeks and then get back in. But it's been for me 8 months.
Yeah. And I think you could say for yourself like did they speak to you about doing therapies and think to speak to you about the exercise and the importance of these things?
Yeah, I did my therapies, but it was so crazy because what I was feeling and experiencing when I would go to the therapy session, they were like, you're kind of on the border. We see that you're having some troubles, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough that warrants us to continue doing this. The evaluation for us is you will heal and you'll be fine. And it goes back to that what you were talking about. These sports players, these athletes, have $1 million policies at their fingertips where they have round the clock care. And I do believe that if my doctor, um, maybe the doctors, not just one, if they would have caught it sooner, maybe they could have addressed it better, and or maybe they could have prescribed me something else that could have helped me along faster. Because I see that there, after what I went through, I know that there is no way I could have got on a football field and threw some pads on and started going heads up with somebody without killing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Those people out there that have had concussions and killed it and commit suicide, going through it, I can understand how and why.
Yeah.
Your brain is
I mean,
going.
and even those with, mental health is a thing that is widely talked about, but
Mhm.
they even though it is widely talked about, is not it, there's not as much of an emphasis on treatment. It's talked
Mhm.
about, but it kind of starts to slide down the totem pole after that. And it's a very important thing. Like you said, I mean, how many people? Yeah, like you said, concussions that have people that have had multiple concussions and haven't had one in years, dealt with different things, depression. Like you think about, a big one was Junior Seau. You know, him
That's the other.
kill. All that they said was related. And that's what really triggered that NFL and concussion class action suit that was out there. And they had that movie with Will Smith
Right.
about it.
I watched that movie. Great movie if you haven't seen it.
So I know it's on my list. I haven't seen it yet, but I
Oh
do want
man,
to see it. But
great movie.
it can have lingering effects, especially if you had more than one, which obviously people like athletes could have. And
Mhm.
again, we kind of just brush it under the table, but it is something that needs to be of heavy focus. So, and like I said, even like doctors and therapists, like for me, it's like, okay, we're not going to continue the therapy sessions, but here's what we're gonna here's exercises. We want you to follow these steps on
Mhm.
your own and follow up with your doctor. I mean, that should have been 1-on-1 off top. Um, Not saying that they did or didn't, but you know better than me. But I'm saying that should be like, well, here, because when I deal with people that deal with just not necessarily concussions, but just physical therapy and rehab and all of that,
Mhm.
I always ask to look at their what type of package or template that they gave them to follow the exercises, because I want to know where they are and what they've been doing, and I wanted to implement that into our programs so that
Right.
they can because it's about being safe, like I always say, and it's about being getting the most out of you at whatever time and stage that you are in your journey. So it would be crazy for me to say, oh, they just came from rehab. Okay, well, they should be fine now. And let me just put them on this program. No, I don't want to do that because I want to make sure that you are on a steady escalade. I don't want to see you get stagnant or linear or even have a setback. Obviously, which is obviously the worst thing is having a setback or triggering something else to cause an injury, because that happens so often where because your
Mhm.
body compensates on other things to where now these things are being overworked and overused, and now you have other imbalances at the least, injury at the highest. So it's so important. It's so important to just to make sure that you get yourself to get the right help. So one of the things I suggest for you and anybody else is just like, you have domestic warriors that were on yesterday, and you have, so people, things like that, like obviously they know, and people that have any type of fibromyalgia or any type of chronic pain know that every day is not the same. There's going to be days where you feel great, and it could be 3 4 days in a row, and the next day it's all of a sudden like, oh, I'm back. Like it's a problem. So it's the same thing with dealing with them with say a concussion. You have to know your limits and study and pay attention to your body, listen to your body, and know your limits on the daily work on a regular workout basis on a daily regimen. So whatever day that is, if how you feeling is how you either determine if you're going to work out, if you're going to work out the same, if you're going to have to fall back some, if you're going to have to just take the day off and go with recovery. So the thing that helps, because again, it's about stimulating brain and your neurons, your nervous system to activate. Um,
Mhm.
Doing some of the exercises I said, some of the programs like Zumba, but even then, you again, it's such a thin line. It all depends on the individual, because you know Zumba may be too impactful for you, maybe too much jolting and moving your head.
For me,
Uh,
that would have been a
so
bit much.
So and no, and they do have group classes that they do have modifications where you're not doing as much movement or as much stagnant. Even things like yoga
I
is a
was going
good
to
one
say that.
because you
Yeah,
are not the only thing you got to focus about problem with yoga is
your balance.
doing like a downward dog to
Right.
where you are ass up and your head is below your heart. You have to be careful with that because of your imbalance, the balance, and or fogginess. So
Right.
things like that could. But there's plenty of ones that you do. But again, it is putting your body into a constant. state of activating the muscles and holding them for a length of time, which is going to stimulate a response in more of the neural system.
Right.
Um, doing balance training, like I talked about before, doing stuff on an uneven scale, on the Bosu ball, the half dome balls, doing it on dyno pads, doing it on a stability ball or the big gym balls. Uh, Things like that that challenge your balance because it challenges again. It's going to challenge that fire response.
Mhm.
Doing unilateral work, doing things like single leg or with one arm, doing side planks, doing things that's going to challenge your body to have to constantly and your mind to have to constantly set and redirect because you're on an uneven surface.
Mhm.
So again, so the benefit with Alzheimer's, with dementia, exercise wise, is your activation of your neuron system. And I
Mhm.
keep saying that, but that's such an important thing because that's what holds the motion. Like anybody that has sciatica know about your nerves, because that
Mhm.
sciatic nerve can completely debilitate you. It can shut you down for the day. So those that have that, I understand what they mean about your nerves and your nerve system. Um, Also, again, a fire and brain response. It can improve your memory because again, you're causing your brain to work, that part of your brain that allows you to recognize and constantly redirect. Because how does your body keep balance? It recognizes the playing field. It recognizes the plane that you're in. It recognizes your gait. It recognizes the surface beneath you. It recognizes a recognition of how your body is supposed to operate. So stimulating that is going to help the brain to keep that memory, to keep that recovery. Even this, I mean, that's just this baseline, the simplest things. Like I saw, like people slipping, getting in and out of the shower, people just driving, all that requires cognitive function and balance. People don't think about that. That's what I always say is like it's about health. It's not just about looking great, having this big chest and a six pack, or having um, toned legs and a nice firm butt that's lifted up. It's about all the things involved, the little things that people take for granted, the simple things like just setting up right, like getting up and down, any simplest things, like I said, getting in and out of the shower, setting on the toilet, taking a shit. All those things are required. All these things to activate. That's the reason why the body's built this way.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So there was a couple studies I looked at, and one of the studies was by the Alzheimer's Society. I looked up like the Michigan Health Labs. Looked up very well health
Mhm.
online. Um, uh, so there's a couple things, but the Alzheimer's Society, they did a study, and it can reduce like dementia like 30%, by 30%. Now,
Working out, exercising.
exercising.
I can see where that is actually possible because I have an auntie who has, I'm not sure if it's Alzheimer's or dementia. I want to say it's dementia, and she's in her 80s, and she goes to the gym. I want to say at least 3 or 4 times a week with her husband, even though she has dementia or Alzheimer's, one of the two. She still makes sure her husband still make my uncle still makes sure that she gets to the gym, she works out, and she still gets around pretty good. And she's, for her age. So, yeah, I can't, uh, I can honestly say the proof is in the pudding, and I have seen the pudding. I watch old folks walk around my neighborhood every day. And some of these ladies are, you know, well into their 80s, and they
Mhm.
have outlived a couple of dogs. that they have walked to death. Okay, so yeah, stay active. It definitely, what he just said, um, I see proof of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Alzheimer's can be reduced by up to 45% just
Wow.
by doing it, like by exercising, by not being a smoker, by being an occasional at best drinker, by having a good nutritional plan.
Hmm.
These things, all these things, they in the study they studied over 2,000 men, and they had some that were smokers and those that drank heavily or more than moderate, and they've had people that exercised and had a good diet, and the numbers were, said the numbers were, they were like people can really um, avoid getting Alzheimer's or dementia, or if you do, the severity of it can be not as bad or not as frequent. Because obviously, dementia and Alzheimer's is a thing where there's days, and it depends on the person, how bad it is in their lifestyle previous to. You
Hmm.
can go completely out of the loop and be gone, not knowing anything.
Hmm.
But but and again, so the same thing with concussions. Like you can lose just simple things, forget things, just
Oh,
random things, forget things and random. So
bro, um, that that is the one thing that I can't stand the most about this concussion is the really immediate loss of memory. Like if I'm on a track and I'm talking about something and somebody interrupts me, I can lose track of what I was talking about and talk about something else. And that part of the concussion, man, was not exciting. That it was kind of scary, to be honest.
yeah,
So yeah, but
yeah, memory fog is another um, condition
mhm.
that people. I never heard of it till it was 2012. I had a client and she had memory fog. And I was like, what's that? I had to look it up because I've never heard of it. And I was like, okay. So basically, it is like, yeah, fogging of the mind. Like you can basically skip. Well, you can either do what you just said, or sometimes you just skip segments. Like you'd be here and like, and 5 minutes will pass and be like, and you didn't even see it. Like you don't remember that nothing even happened. Like
Here's an example for you.
kind of like
But wait, here's the perfect example. You're in the shower, taking a shower. You wash your body with, you wash your legs and feet, and then when you're rinsing off, you're thinking to yourself, "Did I wash my legs and feet?" Because you don't remember just washing your legs and feet.
yeah.
That's how the fog works with concussion. And bro, it's it's just strenuous to go through when you're doing it every day. I mean, it doesn't happen anymore, but in the beginning, that's what it was like. It was like sometimes I, I was washing myself twice just because I was like, I wasn't sure. So I'd
Hmm.
watch the body part again. So concussions, man, affect people differently, and the severity is different. I mean, medication definitely helps. And this is one thing that's really off subject, but and that people probably don't even know because you were talking about you had to research the fog. Um, there is a thing called COVID toes. Look it up. I thought somebody was playing games with me, but this COVID now has something called COVID toes.
Hmm.
I'm not going to talk about it as far as what it is, does, and all that. You find out on your own because I don't want to misinformation. So,
Yeah.
look it up. But yeah, that's another thing, and you might be able to catch it in the gyms and stuff like that. It's just something that they don't talk about because it's not real rampage yet, but it does happen. I know a few people who have had it.
Well, I remember it was either last year or 2020 that some of the people that were suffering from long term COVID our long haulers, some of the things that they was having issues was memory as well, having the fog. So I mean, it's definitely it hits people different, like you said. It's just good to study and do your own research, and also obviously consult with a physician.
Hmm.
But do your outside of a professional, do your own research. Unless you know somebody that specifically went through it, because people will say stuff all
Right.
time. They just say all types of stuff. Or that sometimes people say stuff just to feel like this so people could think that they're smart, or to feel
Mhm.
like, or to act like the smartest person in the room, and don't know jackass shit about what they're saying.
Shit
So
talking Sundays every day. Shit talking Sundays. Go
I'm right.
ahead.
So, so I mean, I always say to do your
Yes.
own, and even with that, you really look up the credentials of the places you're looking up at. Because again, there some of these people that are like, oh yeah, I'm the smartest person in the room. They're writing blogs. They're doing podcasts. Not as good as shit talking Sundays. They,
Nobody.
they're writing articles and just saying stuff. And they put a couple, even trainers, they put a couple anatomical terms in there, and a couple big words that make it sound like, oh, you guys know what you're talking about. They start
Hmm.
talking about science. Oh, the science. Oh, he's talking about the science. So he must have studied this.
Hmm.
And no, there'll be so many. You'll be surprised. Well, you shouldn't be surprised, but if you do that, you'll be like, oh wow. You look at some of the things like, okay, well, damn, this person said this, but yeah, look at all the things other things they said, and look at the facts behind what they said before.
Hmm.
So it's always good to do homework for yourself. I always tell my kids that, like, don't just rely on, oh well, this person said this and this is just gospel.
Right.
I don't care about what your friend said. I don't care about what your cousin said. I don't care about what your mama said. I don't care about somebody. I mean, unless do it for yourself. Even if I say it, it's fine. I always have to tell people it's fine. Look it up for yourself to
Hmm.
confirm. So
But
it's
always take your doctor's advice. If you're going through a concussion or any disease recovery, mental repair, make sure you follow your doctor's advice. We're not giving you medical advice. Well, I'm not. He's more certified than I am to talk about some of the things he's talking about. But you should always. This is not medical advice. Make sure you talk to your physician. But
absolutely. And just like we talked about in the last show, again, if you guys haven't listened, I don't know what the hell y'all doing, but go back and listen to last week's one, and we talked about interviewing your trainer. Same thing with the doctor. Same thing with the doctor. I know the hospital I work with, they have the doctor's bios and everything on there. Study your doctors, study who they are, and see what their background is, you know, what they have studied, and find out. And then when you talk to them, kind of confirm that by what you say to them. Because just because they're a doctor doesn't mean that they're well versed in every aspect. It may not be well versed in concussions or head injuries. They may not be well versed in Alzheimer's. They may not be well versed in some aspects, and it may be an aspect of something that need to that you personally have a problem that need to be rectified.
right,
So interview them, and a good doctor will, the real good doctors will say, I'm not versed on that. Let me refer you out.
right,
But don't just take it as, again, like we talked about. Don't but interview the person if you have specific needs, things that are very specific to you that need that direct attention, and find out. It doesn't mean that they're a bad doctor or a bad person, but they just may not be the fit for you. It's just like with a trainer. It may not be a fit with you. No.
Act as an example, if you're in a car accident and you're injured, you're not going to go hire a divorce lawyer to handle your pain and suffering case. You're going to go hire a a lawyer that knows how to deal with pain and suffering and things like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're gonna deal with a lawyer, attorney that handles car accidents and things that are associated with
right.
it.
Like you,
You're
if
not
you
gonna
have,
be a defense lawyer.
yeah, if you have an accident in the ocean, you're not gonna go get a car lawyer. You're gonna go get a maritime lawyer, okay? Because they know the maritime laws. Same thing
Right.
with your doctors. Same thing with your trainers. Matter of fact, same thing with anything that your dentists, your optometrists. If you have certain eye issues, glaucomas and stuff like that for your eyes, you want to maybe be with a doctor who sees a lot of those cases so they can best treat you. It's the law of big numbers. You know, you want to be with the doctor who has treated the most patients with this issue, so you're going to get the proper um, results.
Yeah, you want to go towards the experience because it
Right.
helps, and it's just facts. It helps because they can say, just like a trainer that works out, we can tell you it based on you're feeling this, you're feeling that. This could be some of the reasons why. Or these are some of the experiences that I've seen and some experiences I've had personally.
Hmm.
It just helps to have someone who's in the know, the firsthand knowledge of that.
Right. Well, anything else you want to throw out there?
I mean, that's all I got for this. I mean, again, if anybody out there, if you have if you have dealt with any of these topics that we talked about today, and you have further questions, you can always contact us. You see the phone number.
Call him. Call him. Call him. Bug him. Prank call him. Hey, look, I get
I got
paid.
caller ID. I'll look for you.
I get paid by y'all's happiness. So if it brings happiness to you to prank call him, record it. Send it to Shit Talking Sundays. You know? Uh no, I'm just kidding. Free consultation. Call that man, the beast. You have his number 916-410-1950. He'll give you a free consultation. He'll put you on track to get the guns he's got. You can start with a 22 and go to a 50 caliber Desert Eagle. Do you see his guns? He got some big guns. That motherfucker, man, look at that shit. You know? So if you need help, call the number. He'll put you on some type of plan or program that's going to get you right. If you're a little phone shy, here, I'll give you his Gmail. You can you can send him those pictures so that he knows what you look like. I mean, uh, birthday suits are okay. You can send them to that number. I mean, to that email address. It's okay. Shit talking Sundays. If you discreetly want to get it to me, send it to him. He'll forward it to me. So if you need him to make sure that your body structure is sculpted the way you want it to be, he'll give you his opinion. If that doesn't work for you, um, reach out to me. That's my email address. You got questions, concerns, whatever. Guys, girls, hit him up. I mean, obviously, maybe not for the same reasons, but hit him up. Uh, I've used his program. I've went through his program. I don't think you could really tell from here because my body is flies a mother, So, but it wasn't always like this. Years ago, I was only about 110, 115 pounds. Okay. After going through his workouts, I got up to 165 pounds. So I gained some weight, and that was my goal. He will help put you on a goal, on a program that will achieve your goals. All right. So reach out to him. I worked out something with him that he's going to give you a free consultation. Might even be able to work out a free workout-ish evaluation. Reach out to him. You got the number.
That's the first step. Reach out.
Remember, uh, mindset is not everything. Mindset is just the beginning. If you're not in the proper mindset to start making change in you, change is not going to happen. It's not possible. Nothing in motion gets anywhere. If you're moving, you will get from point A to point B. If you're not doing anything to make it different, you are on the same path like a robot. And that's part of one of the things that the Beast said in one of our previous podcasts. He said that once you get complacent, where everything is normal, easy, comfortable, you got to switch it up. You got to do something different. So right now, if you're comfortable with where you at in life, both mentally, physically, then keep doing what you're doing. If you're trying to get a change, then you have to do something different. Here's a number to call. Call it. He will get you on the path. Vince the Beast with Team Fitness Major, I want to thank you again for giving us some tips on how to get healthier, wealthier, and wiser. You know, we all have loved ones out there. If you have a loved one out there who is not in great shape, maybe this is where you can start lighting the fire by just reaching out to them and say, hey, let's go for a walk together tomorrow. You never know what that will spark. Or, hey, why don't you come with me on my buddy gym? You never know what that's going to spark. They might say, you know what, I'm going to go get me a membership. Or they might just start working out with you on a regular. And now you got a buddy to work out with. Now you've switched it up. Something just as small as that can make a big difference just by having somebody there that can spot you so that you can try yourself a little harder, push yourself a little further. Okay? So that's where the trainer comes in. Team Fitness Major, holler at your boy. But I made you the dad. That man over there is Vince the Beast with Team Fitness Major. And man, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. It'll be here next week on Wednesday. And if you watch the credits, the schedule for Shit Talking Sundays will be there. Till then, I made you the dad, Vince the Beast. Thank you again. Peace. I'm out.
Sunday morning drama.